The rain hammered the windshield like it had a personal grudge, turning the streets of downtown Seattle into a slick, unforgiving maze. I was parked in the lot behind the rusty Anchor, my phone burning a hole in my hand, when Dominic's profile photo slid into view on Grindr. Those piercing blue eyes I knew from backyard barbecues, now staring back at me with a bio that read discreet, real, seeking the same. My thumb froze mid-swipe, heart slamming against my ribs like a trapped animal. Because if Dad ever found out, it wouldn't just break his heart. It would shatter the only family I had left. I should have closed the app right then, deleted it, pretended none of this existed. But I was 22, fresh out of college with a useless art degree and a closet door I'd cracked open just wide enough to breathe. Growing up in the suburbs of Bellevue, Washington, where the evergreens whispered secrets and the neighbors mowed their lawns like it was a religion. Being gay felt like smuggling contraband into a church picnic. Dad, widower extraordinaire, had raised me alone after Mom's car accident when I was 10. He was the rock, broad-shouldered mechanic with calloused hands and a laugh that could fill a room. And Dominic? He was Dad's shadow, his best friend since high school, the guy who'd shown up every Christmas with a bottle of bourbon and stories from his days as a cop in Tacoma. That night, though, Dominic wasn't the uncle figure tossing a football in the yard. He was a ghost in pixels 5 miles away, online and hunting. I typed a message before my brain caught up. Hey, this is weird. Emmanuel here. From the Thompsons. Hit send. Watched the typing bubbles dance like they were mocking me. His reply came in seconds. M? Holy shit. Delete this chat. Meet me. Now. The Rusty Anchor was a dive bar on the edge of Pioneer Square, the kind of place where the jukebox played Springsteen on loop and the bartenders poured regret by the shot. I pushed through the door, shaking rain from my hoodie, the stale smoke and spilled beer hitting me like a wave. Dominic was in the back booth, nursing a whiskey neat, his leather jacket slung over the seat like armor. He looked up, and for a split second, I saw the man who'd taught me to change a tire at 15. Rugged jaw, faint scar above his eyebrow from a bar fight in '98. But his eyes, they were storm clouds, churning with something I couldn't name. Emmanuel, he said, voice low and gravelly, like tires on wet asphalt. Sit. And for God's sake, don't say a word till I do. I slid in across from him, the vinyl booth creaking under me. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Probably Dad checking in, wondering why I was out so late on a Thursday. I ignored it. Dominic leaned forward, elbows on the scarred table, his fingers drumming a rhythm that matched my pulse. You know why I'm on that app? He asked, not waiting for an answer. Because after 30 years of playing straight, lying to everyone, including myself, it's the only place I don't have to pretend. And now you, Jesus, Kij, you're the last person I expected. Kid. The word stung, a reminder of the gulf between us. He was 45, divorced twice, with a daughter in college he barely saw. I'd idolized him growing up, his easy confidence, the way he'd ruffle my hair and call me champ. But now, sitting there, I saw the cracks. The lines etched deeper around his mouth, the way his shoulders hunched like he was carrying the weight of unspoken truths. I didn't mean to. I started. But he cut me off with a raised hand. Don't. This isn't about blame. Your dad. He's my brother in all but blood. If he knew about me, it'd kill him. The force kicked me out 10 years ago for conduct unbecoming. Code for getting caught with a guy in the locker room. I buried it, moved to private security, told myself I was done. But I'm not. And you. He trailed off, his gaze flicking to my lips, then away, fast as a flinching flame. You're not a kid anymore, Em. You're. You. The air thickened, charged like the storm outside. I swallowed hard, tasting the salt of my own fear. So what now? We just pretend this never happened. He laughed, bitter and short. Pretend? That's all I've ever done. But you're out here swiping like the world's not gonna bite back. Brave. Stupid, maybe, but brave. He slid his glass across the table, the amber liquid sloshing. Drink, and tell me why a smart guy like you is wasting time on apps when you could be painting the town. Literally. Saw your exhibit last month. That piece with the fractured skyline? hit me like a gut punch. I'd forgotten he came to my first solo show at that tiny gallery in Capitol Hill. Standing in the back, nursing a beer, nodding like he got it. Heat crept up my neck. Thanks. It's just, Dad doesn't know about any of it. He thinks I'm figuring things out. Dominic's eyes softened, the storm parting just enough to let in light. He loves you, Em, more than anything. But love like that, it blinds you. He reached across, his hand brushing mine. Accidental electric. I didn't pull away. Neither did he. We talked for hours, the bar emptying around us like water down a drain. He shared fragments. The first boy he'd kissed behind the bleachers in '87, the shame that followed like a shadow. I confessed the hookups that left me hollow, the fear of losing Dad's pride. By last call, the rain had eased to a drizzle, and as we stepped out, his arm grazed my shoulder. Protective or something more? Drive safe, he murmured. Close enough I smelled his cologne, woodsy and worn. And Em? Delete the app. For tonight. I nodded, but in the car, fingers trembling, I didn't. Instead, I messaged him again. Can't. Not yet. That was the spark. The one that ignited everything. The next week blurred into a secret rhythm. Dad was buried in overtime at the shop, rebuilding a '72 Mustang for some tech bro in Medina. I was crashing on a friend's couch in the city, interning at a graphic design firm that paid in exposure and instant coffee. Dominic texted sparingly. Burner number, no traces. Little barbs that hooked me deeper. Saw a guy today who reminded me of you. Too pretty for his own good. Or, your dad's grilling steak Saturday. Come. Act normal. Saturday arrived like a loaded gun. The backyard smelled of charcoal and pine, the sound glittering under a rare blue sky. Dad clapped me on the back, beer in hand. There's my artist. Dominic's been singing your praises. Says you're gonna make it big. Dominic lounged by the grill, tongs in one hand, flipping burgers with the ease of a man who'd conquered worse fires. He shot me a wink when Dad turned away, subtle, deniable. But my stomach twisted. This was his world. Flannel shirts, classic rock, the unspoken code of straight-passing men who die before admitting weakness. We ate on the deck, stories flowing like the IPAs. Dominic regaled us with tales from his security gig at the Space Needle. Drunk tourists, lost kids. Omitting the nights he spent alone in his Belltown apartment, scrolling apps for ghosts. I laughed too loud, my knee brushing his under the table. Accidental? No. The touch lingered, a current pulling us under. After Dad dozed off in his recliner, post-meal ritual, Dominic and I cleared plates in the kitchen. The sink ran hot, steam rising like confessions. You're playing with fire, Em, he whispered, drying a glass inches from my ear. It's a bad idea. Then why are you here? I turned, water dripping from my hands, close enough to see the flecks of gray in his stubble. Because I can't stay away. His voice cracked, raw. He set the glass down, hand hovering near my wrist. The air hummed. Then Dad's snore echoed from the living room, and we sprang apart like teens caught smoking. That night, alone in my old room, posters of Basquiat peeling at the edges, I lay awake, replaying it. Dominic, not just Dad's friend. Mine now too. Dangerous. Real. Our first real meetup was impulsive, born of a late-night text. Pike Place. Midnight. The gum wall. I arrived to find him leaning against a lamppost, collar up against the chill. A paper bag from a food truck dangling from his fingers. Fish and chips, greasy and perfect. We walked the empty market, the salt air thick with possibility. He talked about his ex-wife, the one who'd suspected but never confronted. She deserved better, he said, tossing a chip to a stray cat. I was half a man. You're more than that, I replied, bold in the dark. Our shoulders bumped, and this time he didn't pull away. We ended up on a bench overlooking the water, Ferris wheel lights spinning lazy in the distance. His hand found mine, tentative, then sure. Fingers interlaced, rough against smooth, history against hope. Emmanuel, he breathed, like a prayer. What are we doing? Falling, I said simply. And we did, that night, into a kiss that tasted of salt and second chances. Soft, searching, the world fading to the lap of waves and our ragged breaths. No ruse, just us unraveling. But secrets have teeth. They bite when you least expect. 2 months in, and it felt like living in a snow globe, shaken, beautiful, on the verge of shattering. Dominic and I carved out stolen hours. Dawn runs along the Burke-Gilman Trail, where mist clung to the canal like unspoken fears. Coffee at that hole in the wall in Fremont, trading sketches for stories under the gaze of the rocket statue. He was a revelation. Fierce in his quiet way, quoting Whitman 1 minute, fixing my busted bike chain the next. "You're the color I didn't know I was missing," he'd murmur, tracing the ink on my forearm. A tattoo of a fractured compass, my own design, but the app lingered like a bad habit. I'd sworn it off mostly, but curiosity or loneliness pulled me back on slow nights. Dominic knew. We'd laughed about it once, over takeout pho in his apartment, a converted warehouse loft with exposed brick and views of the Olympics. "Just promise me no more ghosts," he'd said, pulling me close. I promised, but promises are paper in a storm. Dad noticed the shift first. "You seem lighter, son," he said one evening, handing me a wrench as we tinkered on the Mustang. Grease smeared his cheek, his eyes crinkling with that paternal pride that both warmed and terrified me. "Got a girl? Or is it the job?" I froze, socket wrench slipping. "Something like that. Lie number 1. The guilt coiled tight, but coming out? Not yet. Not with the ghost of Mom hovering. Her photo on the mantel smiling like she approved of the straight and narrow life." Dominic's world was fracturing too. His daughter Riley, sharp-tongued sophomore at UW, called more, probing about his mystery moods. He brushed it off, but I saw the toll. The way he'd stare at his phone after, jaw set like concrete. "She thinks I'm spiraling," he confessed one night, us tangled on his couch watching the last picture show. His pic, nostalgic grit. "If she knew, she'd love you anyway," I said, head on his chest, listening to the steady thump beneath. His arm tightened around me, a fortress. "Maybe, but your dad?" He'd never look at me the same. The vulnerability cracked him open, and I kissed the salt from his collarbone, gentle, affirming. We didn't push boundaries. This was romance, not conquest. Emotions woven slow and deep, but in those moments, I glimpsed the boy he'd buried, the one who dreamed of more than badges and bourbon. The conflict brewed subtly, like coffee left too long on the burner. It started with a text from an unknown number. "Saw you with him. At the market. Careful, kid." My blood ran cold. Who? A nosy neighbor? Someone from the app? I showed Dominic. He paled, then hardened. "Block it. Probably nothing." But it wasn't. Days later, another. "Tell Daddy's friend to back off, or I will." Panic clawed up my throat. I confronted him in his truck, parked at Golden Gardens, the sound a gray mirror to my mood. "Is there someone else?" "From before." His face crumpled. "Ain't? No. God, no." Then, halting, the truth. "There was a guy. Last year. Security detail in LA. It ended bad. He wanted more. I couldn't give it. Stalked me for months till I changed numbers. Thought it was over." Rage and fear twisted in me, a venomous knot. "And you didn't think to mention this? We're in this together, Dom, or are we just convenient?" He reached for me, but I jerked back. "It's not like that. I was protecting us." "From what?" "Yourself." The words lashed out, sharper than intended. Rain pattered the roof, a soft accusation. He drove me home in silence, the space between us vast as the Cascades. That night, alone, I spiraled. Opened the app. Stupid, reckless, and there it was. A profile I'd swiped left on weeks ago. Tacoma Tough 87.
Bio, ex-cop.
Bitter. Watching. Photo blurred, but the build.
Familiar?
No. Paranoia. Morning brought olive branches. Dominic at my door with coffee and contrition.
Imskarat, am.
Of losing this. Of losing you. We forgave, fragile as new ice, but the crack remained. Enter the betrayal, not his, but fate's cruel joke. Dad's shop had a break-in. Tools stolen, safe cracked. Nothing major, but enough to rally the old crew. Dominic, with his cop instincts, volunteered to help investigate. Off the books, he said, kissing my temple. For your old man. I nodded, grateful but uneasy nod. Then, the texts escalated. He's lying to you both. Attached. A grainy photo of Dominic and me on that bench, hands linked. Timestamp, 2 weeks old. I confronted him at the station, his old haunt, now a consulting gig. He was poring over security footage, sleeves rolled up, forearms corded with tension. Dom, look. I shoved the phone at him. His face drained of color. Shit, it's him, Mark. The LA guy. He must have followed me back. Why us? Why now? Because he knows this is real. His voice broke. I love. The door swung open. Dad, broad and bewildered, toolbox in hand.
Dom.
Ing? What's going on? Time fractured. Dominic's hand dropped from mine like it had burned. I stammered. Just helping with the break-in. Dad's eyes narrowed, flicking between us. The photo still glowing on my screen, angled just wrong. Helping how? Dominic recovered first, smooth as ever. Kid's got a good eye for details. Found a lead on the tapes. Dad grunted, suspicious but trusting. All right, but we talk later. You've been distant. As Dad left, Dominic sagged against the desk. Close one. Too close. That night, over burner phones we planned. Confront Mark. End it. But deep down I knew the real threat wasn't him. It was the truth clawing free. Riley's visit upended everything. She blew into Seattle like a Pacific gale. Dyed hair, piercings, majoring in journalism with a nose for bullshit. Dominic invited her to dinner at his place. I was the neighbor kid helping with art homework. A lie that stuck in my craw. She cornered me in the kitchen while he grilled salmon on the balcony. So, Emmanuel, right? Dad talks about you nonstop. Says you're the son he never had. Wait, no, that's creepy. Anyway, what's his deal lately? He's glowing. Or guilty. Pick one. I laughed it off, chopping cilantro like my life depended on it. Glowing, definitely. New gym routine. She eyed me sharp. Nah, it's a guy thing. Trust me, I know. My knife slipped. She grinned. Relax. I'm team whatever makes him happy. But if you're banging my old man, spill. Is he as repressed as he looks? Heat flooded my face. What? No. Aang. Dominic's voice from the door. Too casual. Salmon's ready. Riley, leave the poor guy alone. Dinner was a minefield. Her probing questions, his deflections, my forced smiles. Afterward, as she crashed on the couch, he pulled me into the hall bathroom. Tiny, steamy from forgotten showers. She's on to us, he whispered, forehead to mine. She's cool, I said, heart aching. Maybe. Tell her. His flinch was visceral. Not yet. Not till it's safe. Safe. The word mocked me as I slipped out into the night, rain-slick streets reflecting neon lies. The climax built like thunder over the sound. Dad called a family night. Him, me, Dominic, at a Mariners game. Safeco Field pulsing with hot dogs and home run cheers. We sat in the outfield, beers foaming, the crack of bats a heartbeat. Dad was loose, reminiscing about youth league days. Remember that double play, Dom? You and me against the world. Dominic smiled, but his hand found my knee under the jacket, brief, blazing. I pulled away, glancing at Dad. Paranoia. Then, mid-seventh inning, my phone vibrated. Not a text, a video. Mark's voiceover. Oily. Thought you'd hide forever? Grainy footage. Us at the market, kissing. Followed by a still of Dad's shop, safe ajar. Ransom. Blackmail. My vision tunneled. I bolted for the concourse, Dominic on my heels. Ing. What? I thrust the phone at him. He watched, face ashen. That son of a bitch. He did the break-in. To get close. To watch. Rage boiled in me. We end this. Now. We traced the IP, Dominic's old cop tricks, to a motel in Renton, seedy under the freeway's roar. Storm raging outside, we pounded on the door. Mark answered, smug in a wife-beater, eyes wild. Took you long enough. You sick fuck? Dominic growled, shoving past. The room reeked of takeout and despair. Laptop open, our photos pinned like trophies. Mark laughed. Love? This? You're deluding yourself, Dom. And the kid, Daddy's little secret. I'll ruin you both. I lunged, fists clenched, but Dominic held me back. Why? After all this time? Because you left me hanging. Now I take what's mine. He hit send on what? My phone exploded with notifications. Dad's number first? M? What the hell is this video? The world tilted. Betrayal, not just Mark's, ours, for thinking shadows stayed hidden. The drive back from Renton was a blur of wipers slapping rain and Dominic's white-knuckled grip on the wheel. My phone wouldn't stop, buzzing like a hornet's nest, Dad's voicemails stacking. Confusion bleeding to hurt. Emmanuel, call me. Now, who's the guy? And why's it look like? I couldn't breathe, chest crushed under the weight. Dominic glanced over, eyes red-rimmed. We'll fix this. I swear. How? I snapped, voice raw. By lying more? Or finally telling the truth? He pulled over on I-5, the city lights smearing past like accusations. I never wanted. To hurt him? Us? Tears hot on my cheeks. This is what happens when you half live. Mark's poison. But we're the ones who let him in. Silence stretched, broken only by the storm. Then soft. You're right. I call Riley. Get her to help bury the video, her tech was friends. And your dad. I'll tell him. Everything. Relief ward with terror. Together. He nodded, hands squeezing mine. Together. Riley met us at a 24-hour diner in Capitol Hill. Pancakes and fluorescent hum. Her face thunderous as she scrolled the leak. Amateur hour, she muttered, fingers flying. Already scrubbing mirrors. But Dad, this. She fixed him with a look that peeled years. You idiot. Hiding this long. Dominic deflated. Riley.
No.
I'm pissed you didn't trust me. Then softer, hugging him fierce. But I love you. And Emmanuel? Welcome to the mess. Her grin was lifeline. We parted at dawn, her on damage control. Us stealing for the reckoning. Dad's house loomed like judgment. Rambler with the sagging porch. Mom's roses wilted from neglect. He was in the kitchen, coffee black as his mood. The video paused on his tablet. Sit, he said, voice flat. Dominic took the chair beside me, our knees touching, anchor. Dad's eyes, bloodshot, flicked between. Start talking. Both of you. Poured out. The app, the meetup, the fall into something real. Dominic first, halting, his youth, the force, the loneliness. I never meant to cross that line with M. He was off limits. But love doesn't ask permission. Dad's face cycled. Shock, betrayal, grief. My best friend. My son. He stood, chair scraping. You lied. To my face. Every barbecue. Every game. Dad. I reached, but he flinched. And you, M? When were you gonna tell me? Or was this your way? Sneaking around like it's 98. It wasn't like that. Tears choked me. I was scared. Of losing you. He laughed, hollow. You think this doesn't lose me? Seeing you too. Like that. With him. His gaze hardened on Dominic. Get out. Both of you. I need time. We left him there. Door clicking shut like a guillotine. In the truck, sobs racked me. Dominic held the wheel, silent tears carving tracks. I ruined it. Everything. No, I whispered, curling into him. We did. But we'll rebuild. The fallout was biblical. Dad went radio silent, work calls only, clipped and cold. Dominic threw himself into cases, nights blending into whiskey haze. I painted furiously. Canvases of storm-tossed boats, lovers adrift. Selling enough to cover rent, but the hollow echoed. Mark vanished, Riley's hacks tracing him to a bus out of state. Justice, small mercy. But the real storm raged inside. Weeks ground on. A tentative text from Dad. Coffee? Saturday. Neutral ground. The diner by the shop. Formica table scarred as our history. He arrived early, nursing decaf, lines deeper. I slid in, heart hammering. Dad. Eminencia. Pause. I talked to a buddy. Therapist. Old force shrink. He rubbed his neck. Turns out I knew. Deep down. The way you moved, the sketches. And hell, I suspected after his divorce. But knowing? It's like losing mom all over.
I'm sorry.
Voice small. Don't be. Sorry's for liars. His hand covered mine, tentative. I love you, kid. Gay, straight, whatever. But this. With him? That's the kicker. He's family. Was. Is. I corrected softly. Talk to him. He sighed, long. Maybe. But slow. For you. It was a crack in the ice. Progress. Dominic and I clung tighter. Romance tempered by fire. Walks in Discovery Park, where totem poles watched like elders. Quiet dinners of stir-fry and shared silences. I love you, he said one night, under the duvet's cocoon, my head on his chest. First time spoken plain. I echoed it, the words a bomb. But conflict simmered. Riley, now ally, pushed. Dad, you're out or you're not. Half-assing hurts everyone. He bristled, old habits, but she persisted, dragging him to a PFLAG meeting in West Seattle. He went, came back shaken. Bunch of parents like me. Hurts, but helps. Dad's thaw accelerated. A Mariners game, just us, awkward cheers masking mending. Then the invite. Dom's coming by the shop. Tools. You too. The reunion was oil and water. Dad gruff, Dominic deferential, me the bridge. They talked shop, engines, not emotions, but the air eased. By closing, Dad clapped Dominic's shoulder. Missed this, buddy. Me too. Eyes met. Forgiveness unspoken. Yet betrayal's shadow lingered. A letter arrived. Mark. From Oregon. Contrite ramblings. I was broken. Sorry for the pain. Dominic burned it, but doubt seeded. What if he's right? What if I'm poison? You're not. I insisted, cupping his face. We're healing. Summer crested, heat wave baking the city. We escaped to the San Juans. Ferry to Orcas Island. Cabin by the shore. No apps, no ghosts. Just sea glass hunts and bonfires where Dominic read poetry, voice rough over flames. This is us, he said, arm around me as stars wheeled. Whole. I believed it. Then the call, Dad, voice cracking. Come home. Emergency. We raced back, ferry slicing waves like knives. The shop. Flames licking the roof, sirens wailing. Arson. Dad safe, but the Mustang gutted, tools ash. Anonymous tip, firefighter said. Old grudge. Mark. Again. Riley traced it, his prints on a gas can caught on grainy cam. Fugitive now, but the damage scarred. Dad stood amid rubble, soot-streaked. Lost everything. Then, fierce. No. Still got you too. Embrace, three-way, awkward, real. Tears mixed with rain. Climax crested that night, hospital waiting room. Dad checked for smoke. Us pacing. Dominic knelt before me. Ring box from his pocket. Simple silver. Engraved. Compass true. Mahimi. Eminencia. Not today but when. Be my north. Shock, joy, terror. Yes. I choked. God, yes. Dad emerged. Bandaged but beaming. Heard that. About damn time. Laughter broke the dam, release. Autumn painted the evergreens gold, mirroring the fragile bloom in our lives. The shop rebuild was a community affair. Neighbors hauling lumber, Dad directing like a general. Dominic welded beams, sweat slicked, while I sketched logos for the Phoenix Auto rebrand. Riley documented it all, her doc short already buzzing film fests. Mark's arrest came quiet, busted in Portland for priors, our case folded in. Closure, bittersweet. But romance, that wild bloom, demanded tending. Dominic and I navigated the new normal. Dates in public, handholds under cafe tables, his arm around me at Dad's Thanksgiving, turkey and truths, no more hiding. Dad toasted to family, whatever shape, eyes misty, progress, yet conflict whispered. Dominic's past resurfaced, not mark, but echoes. A precinct reunion invite. Old badges, beers, the brotherhood he'd fled. Go, I urged, over eggs in bed. Own it. He did, returned hollow. They asked about the force days. I came out casual like weather, half stared, half hugged. Felt free. Pride swelled. But freedom's price. His ex, second wife Elena, called. Heard the news. Riley filled me in. You heard him, kid, and I'll bury you. Threat laced with care. I laughed it off, but it lingered, reminder of fractures. Winter bit, holidays a whirlwind. Christmas Eve. Dad's tree twinkling, Dominic stringing lights with that boyish grin. We exchanged gifts, mine, a leather-bound sketchbook. His, a custom watch engraved, always. Dad watched, soft. Proud of you both. New Year's, we rang in at the Space Needle, fireworks exploding over Puget Sound. His kiss tasting of champagne and forever. This is our year, he murmured. Spring unfurled scandals. A local paper sniffed the story. Ex-cop's closet romance rocks suburbs. Sensational slop, but it flew. Hate mail trickled. Slurs scrawled on shop windows, whispers at the market. Dad fielded it fierce. My boy and his man. Deal. Dominic wavered, nights pacing, ghosts clawing. Am I worth this storm, Em? I pulled him to the mirror, hands on hips. Look, that's a man who fought for love. Worth every drop. Therapy helped. Couple sessions in a cozy office overlooking Lake Union. Unpacking closets and fears. Vulnerability's your strength, the counselor said. We leaned in. Summer solstice brought the proposal proper. Dad's rebuilt shop, Mustang gleaming cherry red. We'd planned a party, friends, Riley DJing. But Dominic hijacked. Cleared the floor, spotlight on a canvas I'd painted. Us. Intertwined in fractured light. He dropped to one knee amid cheers. Emmanuel Thompson, you've redrawn my world. Marry me? Yes. Again, tears blurring. Rings exchanged. Simple bands, vows whispered. Through storms and secrets. Dad's speech slayed. I lost my way once, after your mom. Thought straight lines fixed grief. But love? Curves, detours. Dominic, you were my brother then, your family now. My heart. To bends ahead. Wedding was small. Orcas Beach, sunset vows. Riley maid of honor. Dad walking me. Yes, me, down the aisle of driftwood. Waves crashed applause. I do, we said, seals on scars. Life post-vow was humanistic poetry. Flawed, profound. Dominic consulted full-time, mentoring queer youth at a center in Capitol Hill. I landed a gallery gig, exhibits selling steady. Dad dated, a widow from the shop, gentle spark. Betrayals faded to lessons. Mark's trial, community service, a nod from afar. We'd visit him once, forgiven but firm. Hurt's a cycle, Dominic said. We broke it. Years layered. Riley's film premiered Sundance, Oscar buzz. Adoption journey. Twin boys, chaos and joy. Dad doted. Grandpa Tom. Wrench in one hand, diaper in the other. One evening, porch swing creaking. Dominic's head on my shoulder, kids asleep inside. Shook you to the core, huh? He teased, echoing the old fear. I chuckled. Still does. Every day. He kissed my temple. Good. Keeps us real. In America's sprawl, from rainy Seattle to sun-baked dreams, we'd forged a tapestry. Dramatic threads of conflict, woven with romantic resilience, edged in humanistic grace. No perfect bows, but a life unlidded, loved fierce. And that, friends, is the story that remade me, not the app, the catch, the shake, but the man who stayed through it all.